with Black and making it, Black artists making it happen. I am here in New York City at Second Stage Theater doing interviews with the creative team of Notes from the Field, a one-woman show written and performed by the one and only Deavere Smith. I look forward to bringing you some of her thoughts in just a minute, so stay tuned. So I've definitely encountered people who are of the sentiment of, well, if I made it out the hood, or if I didn't have these resources, I made it, then they can too, and there's no excuses. What would you say to those people who feel like that the school to prison pipeline isn't a thing, or that it's a myth?
Well, I mean, none of us do what we do alone. You know, we'd have to ask these people, well, you know, did you get where you made it out, but who, did somebody help you? The lady next door, your mother, your grandmother, your fourth grade teacher? Somebody helped you. And, you know, we need, and I feel, you know, the play is also a call for a very, 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 very clear call to Black America, not, you know, just to white people. You know, it's a real call to Black America to get back to some of what's the best about us, which is our sense of community, you know, our sense of generosity. I mean, that's really what I came from. Is it real? I think I learned generosity. I mean, I learned it, you know, certainly from my family, but I grew up in generosity. You know, my mother didn't have a car. She didn't drive, didn't know how to drive. She would stop, we would walk from my house to, I don't know, maybe a mile away to go to Girl Scout meeting, and she'd stop and pick up girls along the way, or, you know, trying to figure out how to get my friend Mary Jarvis into summer camp. They couldn't afford it. And so that's one of our gifts as Black Americans, is this innate generosity and towards the group. And so I would say to that person, well, you know, you're leaving behind one of the greatest parts of your history, and maybe you shouldn't do that, because that sense of generosity, you know, it may just help you wherever you're going. You know, maybe you want to work at American Express or for Chase Manhattan Bank or whatever you want to do. You know, maybe that would help you where you are if you're leading a department at ABC or, you know, at Barney's or wherever you want to work. Maybe that would help you engender a sense of group spirit with your staff. So don't leave that behind. That's what I would say. I try to make it so they feel like they have some benefit from remembering these principles of generosity and kindness.
And then my final question, one thing that I love about Second Stage is their ticket initiative for reduced ticket prices. And this is such an important story that you're telling. What different means and methods and modes are being used to make sure that this story gets out there to people who it's about?
Well, I think one means and mode is that, you know, that you've been invited, especially to come in and talk with me and to make sure that happens, and you've been kind enough to come here because, you know, we're in previews, and so we have rehearsals and stuff, and time is limited. So I think number one is that you've been invited to come and speak with me, and we made sure that happened, and we didn't miss this opportunity. The other thing is that some of the funders for the Pipeline Project, you know, that, you know, none of us can make these kind of works of art without support from individual donors and foundations, and I've been very lucky to be able to raise money to, you know, to do, before I got to the theater, a lot of work had to be done, and so some of the people who have funded me doing the work also said, you know, it's kind of like, you know, when your father, I don't know if your father, you know, when my father was not particularly big on handing out money, but the one thing was when a boy came to pick me up to, you know, go out, he would slip me some extra money, you know, just in case I needed it, you know. And so some of those foundations, you know, before I slipped into these theaters, said, well, oh, by the way, you know, you better take this too, because we want to make sure that, you know, people who don't have $40 or $80 or whatever it costs, that they can come to. So some of these foundations slipped me a check, and it really means something to me that they understand that. And, you know, foundations are doing, I heard Rockefeller is 1,300 tickets to Hamilton. So we are in this moment that foundations, some of them who don't even necessarily fund art, understand that we as artists have a message that we're bringing that needs to be heard, and we all need to hear it together. So I'm grateful for what Second Stage is doing, and I'm very grateful that before I came here, you know, some people slipped me those couple of checks to make sure that we can have folks in here. And I thank you for, you know, getting the word out that there's a ways to get here that, you know, might not cost $80, because I know people have a lot to do with their money.
Well, that is all. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ms.